Hello and welcome. In this yoga class, I'm going to be leading you through a practice really designed to target the muscles surrounding and supporting the hip. So lots of hip opening today, and we'll be staying really low to the mat. So feel free to grab any props that you need to support yourself. So maybe yoga blocks or a blanket or maybe some thick bath towels. And we're just going to begin in an easy seat of Sukhasana. So easy cross-legged position. If this is uncomfortable for you, feel free to sit on the edge of a yoga block or a blanket. It just helps you to tilt your pelvis forward so you find a little bit more grounding there. And you can allow the hands to rest wherever feels nice for the shoulders, maybe close the eyes, or just take a soft gaze out in front of you if that feels more comfortable. And once you're there, we'll just go ahead and get started. So just taking a moment to settle into a place of stillness here. And I always like to begin my classes with just a moment of inventory. So can you just allow yourself to feel? Maybe shifting your awareness to your hips. What is your experience there? Any tightness, clenching, resistance? Just allow yourself to notice. And then begin to shift this awareness to your breath. So finding a little bit more length with every inhale and a bit more depth in every exhale. Gradually begin to grow the breath bigger, softening through the belly so that you feel that expansion there. And then feel the complete emptying as you release the breath out. And as you continue to breathe in just a way that allows you to feel full today, just notice if with every exhale you can find just a little bit more softness and a little bit more ease. Maybe just observe if that's challenging for you today. And as we move through this practice, I invite you to hold on to those words of release, relaxation, and ease. And taking another cleansing breath, so just breathing in through the nose. Perhaps you release it out of the mouth. And gently flutter the eyes open. And we'll just begin with some seated circles. So just taking the chest forward, sweeping it around and right on back. And we'll just continue to circle just a few times in this direction. Just a simple movement that you start to stir the pot. Maybe you begin to feel that movement, that stretching through the hips as you shift from side to side. Just notice where you feel any sensation. Perhaps you close the eyes again. And after going a few times in this direction, switch it up, go the opposite way. So just evening yourself out. Once again, just noticing, observing. And after one more circle, we'll land right back in the center, finding a neutral spine, and then uncross the legs and recross them the opposite way, because we tend to sit in one common way, and then we'll work back into those circles once more and notice if anything is different. And then switching, go the opposite way. And just remain with your breath through each of these movements. And then when you're ready, we'll find stillness back in the center and then gently rock over, come into your tabletop position. So just landing on all fours, hands underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. Spread the fingers nice and wide and then plant the knees so they're about hip distance apart. Moving through a couple of rounds of cat and cow, but initiate the curve at through your tailbone. So as you exhale, we'll round through the spine, tuck your tailbone, ripple through the spine as you tuck your chin to chest. Then inhale, tilt your tailbone up, heart reaches forward, head lifts last. So just really finding a flow here as you shift back and forth between these two shapes, noticing if you can really articulate the motion of the spine by initiating the tilt at the pelvis through the tailbone. Perhaps this round feels different than how you usually initiate your cat and cow. Just really bringing that awareness to that area of the body. Let's take another round in each direction. And then find stillness with a neutral spine. From here, extend the right foot behind you, toes tucked under at the back of the mat, and just take a moment to find stillness. So once you press into the hands, you may begin to feel a stretch through that calf muscle, the sole of the foot, the back of the ankle. Just notice. And then as you inhale, shift forward, shoulders over the wrist, float the toes away from the mat. Really flex the foot, spread the toes here. We'll breathe in. As you exhale, draw the knee in towards the elbow, take it in and around and extend the foot behind. So finding full hip circles there. So taking it out and around, extend it behind, just flowing with your breath there. Finding that space and movement through the hip. A few times in this direction, and then when you're ready, we'll switch it up, go the opposite way. So taking the knee in towards the chest, take it out and around. And just flow with your breath there. And as you continue to maintain that stabilization of your balance, you may begin to feel that left glute begin to turn on. Take another breath here, and then extend the leg behind. Place the foot on the outside of the left ankle. Peek over the left shoulder. Just take a moment to soften and breathe. And then reset in your tabletop position. One round of cat and cow. Initiate the tilt at your pelvis. And then land in your neutral spine. We'll shift to the other side. So extend the left foot behind you, toes tucked under. Again, find stillness. Really press into the hands. Begin to feel the back of the leg turn on. Take another breath here. And then shift forward, float the toes away from the mat, hip circles here. So draw the knee in towards the left elbow, take it in and around, extend it behind. Just continue to move with your breath there at your own pace. Just trying to create these circles as big as you can. And take another round in this direction before switch it up, go the opposite way. And after that last circle, extend the leg behind, place the foot on the outside of the right ankle, look over that shoulder. Take another breath here and reset in your tabletop position. Take one round of cat and cow, open through the heart, and close off. From here, we're going to step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. So you may need to help it along if needed for lizard pose. So as you land, you really want to work so that your hip is not stacked right over that left knee. So think about shifting your hips forward. You can track this right knee right over the ankle. So walk it forward if you need a little bit more space there. And then option to bring your hands to a block or a couple of blocks if needed, or blankets or anything that will give you some more leverage. Or you can bring the hands just flat onto the mat there. Just make sure that you're in a place that's supported, that you're able to release, drop into the hips so you feel that deep stretch for that left psoas muscle. And then once you land, we'll find a little bit of movement here. So maybe that's just rocking back and forth slightly. Maybe that's moving into some little baby circles, just working into that hip. Just find whatever feels most intuitive in your body today. I think that's one of the most great things about our yoga practice is that it is our practice so that we are able to create these movements how we need to. So move in a way that feels best for you. And then when you're ready, we'll settle into stillness, so landing into your lizard pose. If lizard is something that's in your practice and you would like to drop down to your forearms or bring your forearms to a block, feel free to move into that shape. Otherwise, just stay onto the hands and we'll just take about 5 breaths here to breathe. And again, returning to our 3 words: release, relaxation, and ease. What can you soften here? And if you're down on your forearms, we'll just take 1 more breath there before making your way back onto your hands. And wherever you are, we're going to work to get that right hand on top of the left knee. So maybe it just lands there and rests as you press into the thigh. Maybe you allow that knee to slightly fall open, so come onto the knife edge of the right foot. You're opening the heart to the sky to find a little bit more space. You can stay here, or maybe you bend through that left knee. So getting a little bit into the quad. If you have a bind in your practice, feel free to reach back, grab a hold of the foot as you continue to drop into the hips. So fun fact, we do have one of our quadriceps, our rectus femoris, is the one that actually crosses the hip. So when we find a quad stretch here, we are allowed or given ourselves permission to target specifically through those quadriceps. So just take a moment to land, to breathe. Find a little bit more space. And then gently release through the bind. If you have it, heel toe your foot to the center of the mat. So we're just framing the foot here with our hands. If you have 2 blocks and you like to bring your hands to blocks right beside you, feel free to find that. And we'll just take 1 or 2 more breaths here in the middle. So just working through the slow movement to really work into those muscles. From here, we're shifting over to our pigeon pose. So begin to heel toe that foot over to the left side of the mat. We're dropping the knee down as we come into our pigeon. So once you land, you're really working to get that right hip close to the mat. You can always fill it with a block or a blanket if you have any space in between the hip and the mat. And then take a moment to lift up out of the pose to begin with. So again, really working into that left psoas muscle, and then begin to release down. So dropping your chin down to the mat. Now, if that shape does not serve you today, feel free to sweep around and find this on your back. So you're coming into a figure 4. So just crossing that right ankle over the left knee, tracking the knee open, interlace your fingers behind the left thigh and pull the figure 4 into your chest. So you get that same action of opening through the right hip. Wherever you are, we're just finding about 5 breaths to just feel and experience. So take your time settling in. And once again, just noticing what you can soften. Where are you clenching or tightening? What can you release? Coming down to just 3 more breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly begin to make your way back onto your hands. We're shifting our way over to the right hip and sweeping that left leg around. So coming into Janushirasana. So bending through that right knee, sole of the foot to the inside of the thigh. If you're on your back, go ahead and make your way up. Land into this shape, really flexing through that left foot. We'll turn our body to land right over that leg, and then just begin to walk your hands forward. So just finding that stretch through the back of the left leg. Keep the length in the spine, so heart reaching forward. We'll just take another breath here. Then slowly begin to walk the hands back in. We're going to lift that left leg up, bring it to cross over the right knee. Now, always an option to extend that right leg out in front of you if that feels better in your body today, whatever serves you best. We're just keeping that left knee into the chest. You also have the option to keep the foot on the inside of the thigh if that feels better. Wherever you are, we're twisting over to the left, so hugging that left knee into the chest. Left hand extends behind you and just gaze over that left shoulder. So you should feel a deep stretch through the outer edge of that left hip, targeting our glute medius. Maybe find a little bit more length in the spine as you breathe in, and then twist a bit deeper as you exhale. And from here, gently find a brief counter over to the other side. And then gently release. Take a moment to unwind. Extend the legs out in front of you. Just shake it out. Let something go. And then sweep the legs around. Come into your child's pose. So we'll land hips to heels. And I invite you to take the knees as wide as the mat. Big toe mounds come to touch. And just melt the chest and belly in between the thighs here. So you'll find a little bit more opening or stretch for your hip flexors. Just take a moment to land, to breathe, to observe, and to feel. And one more breath here. And when you're ready, slowly make your way back onto the hands. We'll reset in our tabletop position and shift to the other side. So we're working to get the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Again, you can help it along if needed. Just walking it forward so the knee stacks over the ankle. Again, if the right hip is right over the right knee, see if you can create a little bit more space by sliding that knee back just a little to create more of an angle so that you give yourself permission to drop into the hip. You'll find a deeper stretch for that right hip flexor. And then again, option to bring your hands to a block if that makes the ground more accessible. And we'll just take a moment to find some movement. So maybe that's just rocking back and forth. Maybe that's circling in one direction and then the other, just finding whatever movement feels most intuitive in your body today. And then when you're ready, we'll settle into stillness, so really dropping into the hips. Maybe close the eyes, maybe you drop onto the forearms if that feels good in the body today. Wherever you are, just find a place where you can land in for 5 breaths, and then find stillness here. Release, relaxation, and ease. And we'll just take one more breath here. If you're down on your forearms, gently begin to make your way back up. And we're bringing that left hand to the left knee. And then again, just pressing your hand into the leg as you open the chest to the sky. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you come onto the knife edge of that left foot. Maybe you bend through the right knee. Maybe you reach back. and grab a hold of the foot for a bind. Just continue to drop into the hips. Find that deep stretch for the quad. Continue to find opening through that left hip. Ooh, this is my tight side. Just take another breath or two just to soften, observe, and breathe. And then gently release. Or heel toe that left foot to the inside of the hands and just take a moment to land into our runner's lunge. So just slowly making our way over. Notice how it changes the stretch when the foot is in between the hands. Take another breath or two here. And then continue to walk that foot on over as we come into our half resting pigeon. Again, option to take this on your back if that is more accessible in the body today. Take a moment to feel any space underneath that left hip that you need. Really dropping the right hip down to the mat. We press into the hands, lift up out of the pose first. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, gently begin to melt down to the mat. Take a moment to soften and find space here. And coming down to just 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, slowly make your way back onto your hands. We'll rock the weight over to that left hip, sweeping the right leg around. Again, sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Take a moment to shift your body over that leg. We'll lengthen here and then begin to walk the hands forward. Keep the length in the spine as you just take that moment to melt over that right thigh. And just a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, gently walk the hands back in. Again, we're bending through the right leg, working to get it over the left leg. Option to extend the left leg out in front of you or keep the foot on the inside of the thigh if that feels better on this side. Right hand comes behind you, hug the right knee in, and look over the right shoulder. Seated twist. And again, just notice if on your inhale you find a little bit more length. And on the exhale, you can twist just a bit deeper. And gently unwind, brief counter over to the other side. And then resetting right through center. Take a moment to unwind, shake the legs out. And then from here, we'll move into butterfly or Baddha Konasana. So we're bringing the soles of the feet together, pulling the heels in as close to the pelvis as you can. I invite you to sit on a blanket if that feels most or a little bit more comfortable here. You can take the hands around the feet, we'll lengthen through the spine, and then you're slightly just tilting forward, keeping the length in the spine as you allow the knees to fall down. So really stretching through those hip flexors. We can also target our piriformis, which is one of our main hip external rotators. Whenever we bring the soles of the feet together and then we tilt forward or have that action here. Just finding that moment to stretch. Find that space to release. Find that space to soften. And just take another full breath in. And slowly peel yourself up. We'll bring the hands to the outside of the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Just take a moment to windshield wiper the legs side to side. And then when you're ready, we'll make our way down to our back. So just coming to lie down completely. Once you get there, maybe find a full body stretch. Maybe find a full body stretch or draw the knees into the chest. Wherever you are, just take a moment to find whatever feels most intuitive to you. And then we'll land with the knees into the chest, bring the hands on top of the knees, and just begin to circle the knees out, just taking them in large directions in one direction, and then switch it up and go the opposite way. Then we're coming right back to that butterfly pose or our Supta Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet together, knees fall out. You can bring blocks or blankets underneath the knees if you need something to support you here. And I invite you to bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, or just allow the hands to release out to the side. And as you just take a moment to land here, notice if this version of our butterfly feels any different than the seated version. Notice if you can continue to soften using the exhale. Notice where you can find just a little bit more release. And just take another breath here. Slowly draw the knees back towards one another, soles of the feet to the mat. Maybe you gently windshield wiper the legs, or just find any last little bit of movement you need to complete your practice here. And we'll just come into a brief Shavasana, so extending the legs out long, bringing your hands to your side, and just take a moment to land. We return to that space for observation. What's different? What has changed? There are so many dense nerve bundles within the hips and surrounding tissue. The dense connective tissue there can often hold on to a lot of emotion. So notice if anything has shifted. Can you allow yourself to just feel? And when you're ready, we'll invite gentle movement back into the body. Taking any final stretches or shifts before making your way up to that easy seat of Sukhasana. And on your next inhale, reaching both hands high overhead, pressing the palms together. Exhale, hands down to your heart, sealing in your practice. Namaste.